Welcome to the stunning Shropshire Hills and a new series of 12 walks that invite you to discover the landscape, help the rural economy and go walking with Offa. Claire Fildes from Shropshire Hills AONB and Jim Stabler from Shropshire Council tell us more about the project and the Offa connection.
Walking with Offa is about getting people out and about in the countryside, seeing some of the really beautiful landscape that's perhaps a bit off the beaten track, very much in the western part of the Shropshire Hills, area of outstanding natural beauty. It was really to introduce people to some of the lovely remote rural pubs that we have in the area that perhaps they wouldn't have come across otherwise. King Offa was the King of Mercia back in the 8th century. The Kingdom of Mercia was a large area. The dyke itself was constructed to mark the western boundary of his kingdom. It was 80 miles long, 12 feet wide. It had a bank up to 20 feet high and a ditch 6 feet deep on the other side. We're not entirely sure why it was built, whether it was defensive or just a symbol.
It certainly was the first thing to divide and define the border between England and Wales. It really was the start of all the border fortifications that filled this land of the marches and gave it its character and gave the people of the area their character as well.
It seemed that when we wanted to do a walking project on the borders that we used Offa's Dyke as that defining feature.
Due to the special nature of the geology, the walks cross some amazing landscapes.
We have an enormous diversity of habitats. There's lots of little bits of lovely wildflower meadows, wonderful moorlands and heaths. There's quite a lot of ancient and semi-natural woodland, rivers and streams and river valleys. So you've got this sort of mosaic of interwoven habitats. The geology really has led us to a mix of livelihoods. So we're not just a farming area traditionally. There has been a lot of mining, a lot of quarrying. Varieties was mined in the area, as was lead and copper and coal, in fact.
To give us a flavour of the walks, Claire and Jim are joined by walkers Dave Croker and Mike Watkins.
A couple of the walks go from the rather sleepy village of Bucknell, and there's some lovely walks that go from there, quite an unexplored part of the Shropshire Hills. One of them in particular, up to Stow Hill, has no stiles to negotiate, and it still has absolutely magnificent views over to the Caercraddock Hill Fort. A walk around Wentner has magnificent views over the Longmynd and Prolly Moor.
Bromlow Callow is my favourite bit, and if you go there throughout the year as I do, it's sort of totally different each time you go up there. I mean, when you're on top of the Bromlow Callow, if it's a really clear day, you can see Cadaridris, but you can see over Long Mountain in Snowdonia, so you get a fantastic view. If you happen to be in the area on New Year's Eve, I can recommend that you go up there because quite a few of the local people walk up there. One particular chap takes a bugle up with him, and at midnight he plays the bugle. And we were up there about 2 years ago. It had snowed for days and days. It was a totally clear night. It was a full moon. Fantastic.
These days only some of the dyke remains, but some of the most impressive stretches are found in the Clun Forest, and one of the Walking with Offa walks will take you to some of the better stretches that remain.
Mitchell's Fold, I think it's really such a lovely place because although it's about 400 to 450 metres high when you're up there, because it's so open, it gives you a feeling of being up above the world. You see the hills receding out to Cadaridris on the Welsh coast. You see from there down in the valley between Stapley Hill and Montgomery, which nestles on a hillside. You can see the valley through Montgomery Vale, through which Offa's Dyke runs, and Corndon to the south, rising above Stapley Hill. Lots of archaeological interest, lots of barrows and cairns.
Bury Ditches is a really impressive place to go. It's an Iron Age hill fort and is commonly considered one of the finest hill forts in Britain. You haven't got to imagine it. It's very, very simple to see where the walls were, to think what it might have been like to live there, to imagine the marauders coming across the valley towards you.
Look out for the wildlife. You will see traces of badgers, and the birds are just fantastic. In winter you might even be lucky in seeing a ring ouzel. More than likely we'll see a red kite wheeling in the sky.
You'll see curlews, lapwings, skylarks, hares of course, Lots of buzzards. We tend to dismiss the buzzards because they're so common. And of course the good old corvid family, all the ravens, rooks, jackdaws and crows, are fascinating by themselves.
Walking with Offa will introduce you to some magnificent scenery, some fascinating heritage and some really good home-cooked food and real ales. There's also the opportunity to experiment a bit with public transport, leave your car at home. So the hope is that people will go for a walk, enjoy the countryside and then enjoy a well-earned meal and pint back at the pub when they get back.
To access these walks and more, go to www.shropshirewalking.co.uk. For more about the project and the Shropshire Hills, go to www.shropshirehillsaonb.co.uk.